Alrighty. We've got a big pants full of evidence and a target of which to shoot for. We just gotta make it all work. Well, this is it. Today's the day it all goes down. So down you don't even know where you're gonna end up, but I'm guessing subterranean. And then there was yesterday. Yeah, that's pretty much the most suspicious thing you could have possibly done. This meeting is over. Sorry. Just give us 5 more minutes. We can call them back after that. Sorry, no go. Come on, piano boy, we're leaving. Darian, wait! I never liked you, either of you. Eh? I mean, seriously, my guy, I don't understand why you would do that. Darn it, we were so close. He was about to tell us. Hey, Apollo, he didn't want us to hear what Machi had to say. Like, it's one thing to be oh so incredibly suspicious, you know, as we're trying to get information, you know, and all that. It's another thing to just go, oh yeah, and by the way, I think you guys suck. Like, wow. Okay. Dang. I was already gonna bring you to justice, but now you wanna make it personal too? And I think I know why. Time to bring down a little justice. Hey! Bang! What? Why bang? Hello. What was that? He is heard but unseen. Who's that talking?
Magic!
Ah, wizard! Valiant Gramarye! I exclaimed as he walked in through the door. Normally. You aren't the witness today, are you, Uncle Valiant? A preposterous proposition. How could I stand upon the stands? What? That's not alliteration. That's just saying the same word a bunch. Why, my secrets would be free for the plucking. I might even have to sign autographs. Can't have that. Haha, not without an exuberant fee. This is why I intend to remain hidden for the entire day. Oh, with vanishing magic? Well, then why did you explode your way through a door? Indeed! I will jump upon an express train and express myself to the next town over. But before I go, a word of warning. Warning? What? A grand Gramarye glamour resides at the root of all that has happened. Do not forget this truth. Glamour? A glamour? A spell, a sorcery, a great illusion. Miss Trucy, though it pains me to part so, I need to get in line for a ticket. Ta-ta-ta! Farewell! And there he goes. He sure seemed happy about that illusion thing. Oh, big illusions are the bread and butter of a magician. You can't pull off a show without one. The big illusion is always a spectacle to remember. Usually it involves cutting up things like people or elephants or the Eiffel Tower. Anything, really. She's not even really all that outlandish about it. I mean, you know, Copperfield made the Statue of Liberty disappear that one time. So he was talking about what we saw at the concert. Siren's disappearing act. Prosecutor Gavin's exploding guitar. Well, the exploding guitar I can very easily explain. I wonder what he meant by it being at the root of all that has happened. Well, it's about time. Shall we go? I'm sure we'll absolutely flounder our way through eventually anyway. Excuse me, sir. Yes? The scheduled starting time for the trial has been changed. The trial will not be commencing until 10:30 a.m. Sorry for the inconvenience. Huh? Did something happen? This is a first. This is like your 3rd trial ever, my guy. I don't know if you're allowed to say things like, oh, well, that's a first. This is highly unorthodox. It was by the judge's request. Some urgent personal business. Oh, right. I remember. Great. And I bet he stayed up too late last night watching courtroom dramas. Apparently he's visiting the hospital again. Oh, well, dang. Now don't I feel like an asshole, Apollo? The hospital? I believe it was mentioned that the Chief Justice's son is unwell. Apparently his condition worsened considerably this morning. The Chief Justice's son? Oh, wow, yeah, wow. Maybe I shouldn't have just made such an assumption like that. Oh, that's right. Remember yesterday morning, the judge said he had to go visit him after the trial. There's an article about it in the newspaper. If you care to read about it yourself. I do believe I would... Incuritis. Well, ain't that just a splendid case of serendipity? Incuritis? Where have I heard that before? Disease strikes closer to home than ever before. I'll let you read that article for us, Apollo. Is he gonna do that on his own, or just leave the TV guide pages to me? Okay, you're a dork. You're a dork, you're adorable, and I appreciate all that you do for me. Let's see, is there any other information to grab from this? No, there is not. Okay. Try not to lose the page with the funnies if you can. I need to know how Kathy is doing! Do they still make that? I don't even know. My apologies for the delay. Court is now in session for the trial of, how do you say this name again? Machi Tabaya. That does not even remotely help me figure out how to pronounce it! Our suspect of Fortissimo. Right. It's his trial in any case. The defense is prepared, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready to rock. Just once I want to hear you say it properly. Oh, well. Is something wrong, Your Honor? No. Well, yes. It's just, I've been friends with the Chief Justice since we were students. It pains me to see him going through such a difficult time. Incuritis, was it? That article said there's no known cure. Judge, let me say with all honesty, I feel your pain. But now is not the time for tears. Now is the time for law. Yeah. It's a sad little place to be. Honestly, kind of, I mean, not a one-to-one, but I understand the feeling behind it, you know? Like, you got things going on in your life, and they're really bad, and you do deserve sympathy, but you also have a job to do, and people are relying on you, so you gotta get up, and you gotta keep going. Indeed. We left off at quite the juncture yesterday. That we did. Asked Interpol about the number. There it is. The agent registered under this number was Romain Lettuce. Romain Lettuce! I'm sorry it took so long for me to get that. Thanks for looking into that for us, Detective Crescent. It's a great help. Oh, no problem at all, Your Honor. I'll be heading out. But then the siren called out to the stands. Halt! That man be a murder man! That voice just now. It was him. I'm sure of it. It was him? The voice I heard talking to Mr. Lettuce. When I heard the gunshots fired. It was him! It was Mr. Darian! Huh? That man that looks like a shark is gonna get got. I was trying to think of like a, I don't know, some kind of nautical thing I could say there, but I am not clever enough to come up with something that fast. Quite a sensational ending. Who would have thought that Darian would guest star in the season cliffhanger as a suspect? This is a murder trial, man. We try to give it a little bit more of a personal feel than a television one, man. I asked the prosecution to look into this matter. Please tell the court your findings. Darian Crescent is a member of my band, the Gaviners. He is also a detective, making the current charges serious indeed. Yet after investigation, I have found no cause to alter our case or file new charges. And your reason is? Weren't you aware, Air Forehead? He has an impeccable alibi. Well, then I'm just gonna have to rip it to pieces, now aren't I? An alibi? Let us review the facts again, shall we? The concert held on the night of the shooting was in 3 sets. The Gaviners ripped up the stage during the first set. For the second set, our guest took center stage. The only performers appearing were myself, L'Amourard, and Machi, along with a drummer and bassist, for a total of 5. The drummer and bassist are unimportant. Isn't that just like lead guitar and vocals to say that, though? Yeah, and then, you know, there was the drummer and the bassist, you know, who cares, whatever. The shooting in the dressing room, however, took place during the 3rd set. She and the defendant, Machi Tabaya, had left the stage at that point, and the Gaviners were already rocking. This is when 2 shots rang out at the scene of the crime. Shots heard by Detective Emma Skye, mind you. And also me. And Apollo, you heard them too, right? I sure did. They were spooky. I damn near jumped into Emma's arms like I was Shaggy. And she was Scooby-Doo. You know when they do that thing? It was like that. Furthermore, she witnessed the moment of the crime. Well, perhaps I should say she heard the moment of the crime. When she claims to have heard Mr. Lettuce and Detective Crescent talking. But that's impossible. Detective Crescent was... Precisely. Detective Crescent was on stage getting his groove on, no less. I thought he was playing guitar, not dancing. Viola! A perfect alibi! Does the defense have anything to add to this? It's true. When I heard those gunshots, he must have been on stage. Which means there has to be some kind of fabrication, trickery. Something is afoot, clearly. Still, there's something here that doesn't quite add up. It appears the defense has no objections. And I believe we can safely say that Darian Crescen's alibi has been acknowledged. Which means that she was sadly mistaken. Her testimony cannot be true. Very well. Of course, if we disregard her testimony, then I see no evidence keeping us from declaring a verdict. If indeed there are no objections. Apollo, if he declares a verdict, the Prosecutor Gavin's case is airtight. She might have been lying to protect Machi. How can I rely on her testimony? Wait, what about yesterday in the detention center? About the case? What about the case? He wants to tell us about Mr. Latus's death? This meeting's over. Yep. And then he pulled him away. I remember. But there was info he wanted to give. Machi was trying to tell us something. I know it. Maybe the best thing to do is ask him. Under oath, where no one can stop him. Very well. The court finds the defendant. God, what was his name again? No, Your Honor. Whoa. No, that wasn't it. It was something like Marquise or Mr. Justice? What? Your Honor, before you declare a verdict, I would like to call another witness. Exactly who else do you need to hear from? A witness who, until now, has not been given a chance to speak in this court. Because he doesn't speak English. You don't mean. Oh, I do. The defense calls defendant Machi Tabaya to the stand. What? But he doesn't speak English. We'll use an interpreter. Interpreter? I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. I only speak a few phrases, such as, I love you, and where is the toilet? In what situation would you need to know those two phrases, you little weirdo? The defense would like to request she as the interpreter. She? But there's a possibility she's protecting the defendant. Yeah, how are we gonna sell that concept? But she'd be interpreting for the defendant. Why would she lie? This is most unusual. Bravo, Air Forehead. Air Judge, the prosecution agrees with the defense's request. If she lies, I'll be able to tell. Even my limited knowledge of the language should be enough for that. You know, I may not like his general attitude, but I really can't deny that he is a significantly, even if he is a bit condescending and kind of a jerk-ish in ways, he is significantly more helpful than the greater majority of prosecutors I typically go up against. So, I do have to thank him for that much. So, alright. Fair play. I clap. You know, there you go. Fair. Finally, some progress. Bailiff, please show the defendant and Lamoureur, God, that bothers me so much, to the witness stand. Is this the first time there's been two people on stand at the same time? I mean, I guess there was that guy with the puppet, but I'm not going to count that one, even if he does kind of look like the right size for it. Anyway, I suppose there's a first time for everything. Shall we proceed? This is no stranger than the parrot or the weird radio thing we use to talk to a serial killer. Or an assassin, whatever distinction that is. Your name to begin with, if you would. Yes. He says, Machi Tabaya, the defendant. This is certainly a first for this courtroom. Not that we really needed an interpretation of that message in particular. So far, so good. Very well, Mr. Justice, if you would. If I would what, Your Honor? What? You called the defendant to the stand, did you not? What would you have him testify about? What do I want him to testify about? Ooh, hadn't thought that far ahead. Apollo! Aren't you gonna ask him what he was about to tell us yesterday? How can if I don't know what he was saying? Excuse me a moment, if I may speak. Yes? Just now, Machi said there is something about which he wishes to testify. Machi wants to testify about something? There you go, that works. We'll start with that. Let's go. What sort of testimony is he talking about? One moment, please. The suspense is killing me! What? What? Well, according to Machi, he has proof of his innocence. That would be helpful. This is a surprise. Yahoo! Victory, Apollo! We did it! This is sounding too good to believe, and I know what that usually means. I haven't been at it for long, but I know nothing in life is that easy. Well, if that's true, then this is vital testimony. Machi, please testify to the court. Very well. Okay, well, this is gonna be weird, but let's give it a go. He says that word of Mr. Latus's death came as a great shock. But if the killing truly followed the lyrics of the song, I, that is, he, could not have done it. He says that because the lyrics are in English. He does not understand them. I see. He wouldn't have understood the English lyrics to the song. That would prevent him from following them so closely. I wondered what he meant by proof. Why, he would only have to ask her to know the meaning of that song. Siren, did you ever explain the lyrics of the song to him? I did tell him generally what the song was about, but never in so much detail, and he never asked. Has my oft-repeated warning already fled that forehead? The Siren might be protecting the witness. Well, anyway, let us proceed with the cross-examination. Mr. Justice, if you would. Yes, Your Honor. Something's hidden in that testimony, I know it. I'll just have to trust my bracelet to tell me where. It worked yesterday, it'll work today. Unless it's malfunctioning, I have no idea how it works. Okay. Okay, so... if we're talking... I mean, we're looking for a tell here, right? What kind of tell are we working with? Yay, I knew he was innocent! I believe he is too, Trucy. I do. What's wrong, Apollo? You got a tummy ache or something? Constantly, these days. Something's hidden in that testimony. If it's the truth, I'll find it. Okay, well, if I can't find a tell yet, then I need to find one. Okay, so then, let's see. Follow the lyrics of the song. Okay, let's press on this one. No, I didn't, I didn't mean to perceive. Hang on, sorry, didn't mean to perceive. I wanted to press. Wrong button. Although I did see his eyes there. That was something. Wouldn't it be difficult for him to perform without knowing the meaning of the lyrics? I don't see how. I mean, you just need to know how to read sheet music. Well, he was supposed to be. It doesn't matter. He's not. He did know what the song was about. Its mood, shall we say. This was enough to play by. I told him it was a song about a guitar in love. It's not actually the guitar that's in love, strictly speaking. Yeah, well, maybe your lyrics are butts. Have you ever considered that? Maybe people just really enjoy the melodies of your songs, but the actual lyrical value of it is absolute ass. You know? Just something to ponder. No? Perhaps I misunderstood. No, not really. Yours is also a valid interpretation. For a Nick Jr. show, maybe. Okay. No, it is my fault. I am too used to singing in Borginian. It is much easier than trying to understand these English lyrics. Yay! Okay, nope. So, that's not good. Okay. If I can't... That's the only bit of info that made any sense to me. Okay. You know what? Let's give it a try. Let's... I lose nothing by looking, right? Alright. You got anything going on here? Something in that face of yours? Oh! Hey! Whoa! 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 There you go! That's not nothing! That's not nothing! Gotcha! Alright, so what's that all about? Machi? You can't fool my eyes, even behind your big old sunglasses. You glanced toward her the very moment she said the word English. Why? And don't bother interpreting that, he understands me. What? Machi, tell the truth. You can understand English, can't you? What are you saying? Of course he can't. Must he continue this charade? Mr. Justice, Machi says this. I know the word English. Huh? Before coming to this country, he heard me speaking English. He learned the name for this language. That is all. What? Oh, give me a break. That's a hyper-specific and incredibly unuseful word. Is that such an unusual word to understand? Do you not know Espanol, for instance?
Okay, fair enough, I guess.
Well, yeah, but... I am sorry, but he truly does not understand your language. Well, then explain this. How does he know the crime followed the lyrics? Have you always been such a suspicious-minded lad? It's part of the job. Sorry. It is simple. So simple it hardly requires an explanation. He read about it in the newspaper. Oh! Did you? The newspaper? The Borginian Daily Bugle. You can buy it in this country these days, you know. They have already begun to report about the case in our homeland. I was right! What is wrong, Mr. Justice? Your eyes, they are quite fierce all of a sudden. Machi is lying! Maybe it's time to show them proof that he's lying. Hang on, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Yeah, there we go! I would even also very conveniently say, yeah, don't mention any dang thing. Luckily I remembered that, but yeah, it's good to have a refresher. I have here a Borginian newspaper, the Borginian Daily Bugle, as a matter of fact. Indeed, there is a feature article about the case. Could you read this for me, Machi? Ah, that's right, it doesn't mention the lyrics. What is this all about? I'm sorry, Machi. You couldn't have read about the lyrics in a Borginian newspaper. Okay, alright. We're doing fine. Step at a time. What does this mean? But I don't see how it's possible. I know. He must have heard the lyrics when the police were doing their questioning. Yes. Not possible. The subject of the lyrics was not brought up in police questioning. I read the full report myself. So, the lyrics weren't in the newspaper, and the police didn't mention them. The only place you could have heard them was in the courtroom. In English, no less. The witness will explain himself, whatever works. Machi says, he says, yes, it is true, I read the newspaper, but this is not where I learned of the lyrics. I was mistaken. Now I remember. You remember? He says he heard of the lyrics from me. What? Well, then why didn't he go with them? Is this true, Siren? Yes. I'm afraid I had forgotten it myself. Wasn't that mightily convenient for the both of you? And then it looks like our forehead's been jumping to conclusions again. It seems so, yes. Oh, no. I was onto something, I know it! I can't let this chance slip away. Time is an issue today, Mr. Justice. Are you finished with the cross-examination? Heck to the gnaw! What are you gonna do, Apollo? If I'm gonna keep on cross-examining, I better have an angle of attack. Or else. My bracelet's still reacting. Oh? Okay. Your Honor, please allow me to continue. If you must, you must. Very well. Witness? I understand. Okay. It was I who explained that who explained that the crime followed the song. Okay, well then... Let's see. Do you have the same... Hang on. It's gotta be you. You're the one talking, and you're not talking for him. Do you have the same nervous tick as before? Okay, hang on. Here again. Yes! As a matter of fact, you do have the same one! Let's friggin' go! Gotcha! Ain't no lie slipping by me! Siren, I'm currently cross-examining Machi. Why should you be uncertain? Me? Uncertain? Yes, you swallowed the very moment you told the court. It was I who explained. I see there is little point in trying to hide anything from you. Siren, are you indeed protecting someone? That is not the question with a simple answer. To tell the truth, I do not believe it myself. Then allow me to answer for you. Okay, you are protecting... I mean, there's literally only one possible option for this one. Take that! Don't take a detective genius to figure that one out. Siren, you're protecting Machi. That's why you lied and told us that you had explained how the crime followed the song. I don't fault you for trying to help, but this is not the way. Machi, I believe you didn't do it. Really, I trust you. But you've lied to us twice. And now you have her lying on your behalf. If this is going to work, you have to trust me too. Your two lies cover a simple truth. You understand English. You have to. There we go. It might have been a guttural noise, but it was in English. We got him. Witness, is this true? Do you understand English? Yes, a little. Only. There we go. Okay. What? First he could see, now he can talk. And you did not know about this, Siren? No, I did not. It is quite the surprise. How many secrets is this witness hiding? This is last. Machi, could you tell us what really happened? No shooting. I did no shooting. So, you weren't in the dressing room when I heard those 2 gunshots, correct? Apparently, the answer to that question isn't simple either. I was in dressing room, behind desk, manager, he on floor, which would be after the shooting, right? Then, there is voice. Voice? Or voices? Was it you and Emma, Apollo? So when Machi went into the dressing room, Mr. Latouche had already been shot. And then we came to the door. Panel high up, I take off. Run away. Run away! So it was you who escaped through the air vent. As the prosecution has upheld all along, no less. The defendant has admitted to being at the scene. Might we take this as a confession? Objection! No. No. He's clearly denied that he did it. I no shooting. Manager on floor. Already on floor. Objection! The victim had already been shot, you say. I find that hard to believe. The defendant understood the song lyrics. He was at the scene of the crime. This can only mean one thing. He is the shooter. Okay, but that doesn't make sense. I still think it's so incredibly weird. Why is nobody bringing up how tiny it, we're led to believe that this tiny 14-year-old boy was somehow able to wrestle a very large gun out of a trained Interpol agent's hands and shoot him to death. And then, after that, take the body and drag it. Just drag it all the way out of the room, through the hallway, onto a stage platform, and raised it up, then passed out next to it? Like, there's no way. There is no way at all that makes any sense. Does the defendant have anything to say to this? He's clammed up, Apollo. Then let's ask Mr. Justice. Will you require any further testimony from the witness? Is this it? Is there nothing else I can get him to testify about? Wait. No, of course there is. What is this cocoon, anyway? I am intrigued about this. Okay. Cure. Well, Machi, are you a smuggler? He ain't talking. He won't tell me. That cocoon has to have something to do with this. Machi, please, tell us the truth for your own sake. No more speak. Not to any of you. So much for your precious trust, Air Forehead. You were the one who didn't believe him. Regardless, this brings us to an impasse. It does seem that the defense and defendant are at odds. I doubt we are likely to learn anything more of value should this continue. I see no other course but to declare a 5-minute recess. The defense will work things out with the defendant so that we might proceed. Okay, alright. We have some serious convincing to do. Wow, that almost took an entire hour in universe? Apollo Eustace. That's justice. Better learn how to say it if you ever want to get some. There's definitely a better way to say that. Believe. I know shooting. Machi claims Mr. Latouche was already down on the ground when he entered the room. maybe it was a trap, and he walked right into it? Suddenly, I hear a revolver, close, very close. Then I hear a voice. You heard gunshots? Yes, it's true. I hear a revolver, but only sound. Wait, you're saying you went into the dressing room and found Mr. Latouche already dead? And then you heard gunshots? Well, if that's true... So, you were at the scene of the crime when you heard those shots? And you escaped through the air vent. I know. Huh? What do you know? I know if I opening vents, I can leave stage and backstage. So the vents went to both the stage and the backstage area. Is that what he means? Hey, he's right. Look, Apollo. Huh, yeah. But how did you know it was connected like that? Wait, I bet his father was the architect that designed the hall or something. Why would you assume that? I hear this from Magician. Magician?
Magic!
Don't look at me! A magician, huh? Well, at least we're clear on one thing. Machi didn't shoot Mr. Latouche. Yeah, but what does that leave us with? We're supposed to say he went into the room to find the body and then he heard the shots? That one's gonna go over well in court. Not. Wow, I didn't know Apollo was from the 90s. Apollo, you're his defense. You're supposed to believe whatever he says, even lies. That's not quite how it works, no. That's what Daddy always told me. I'll just pretend you misheard him every time. So, what do we do? Phoenix? No. I know Phoenix. I know him, damn it. I've heard his internal monologue for 3 entire games. I know the man. No. So, what do we do? You're sure you won't testify, Machi? No talking, no. Well, it was worth a shot. That cocoon. I can't go home. Can't go home. Yeah, okay, so he clearly is smuggling the cocoon, but he doesn't want to bring it up because he doesn't want to die. I can't go home to Virginia. I do not want to go home. The penalty for taking a cocoon from Virginia is death. That's right, it's punishable by death. Of course, he's scared. Oh well, I guess we'll just have to try a different approach. That's the spirit, Apollo. So what's your plan? If Machi won't testify about it, we'll have to get someone else to testify. Someone else? I think we're out of time. Let's get back in there. Right. Oh boy! Here we freaking go! Okay, alright. Court is now back in session. Mr. Justice, have you sorted things out with the defendants? Yes, Your Honor. We had a good talk. Very well. So, will he testify? Your Honor, the defendants will not testify. What? Shame. In here, I thought this was your big chance to turn the case around. Exactly, it is. The defense would like to approach this case from a different angle, Your Honor. A different angle? If Machi won't testify, then I know who will! I would like to cross-examine the witness in this case. The Siren. The Siren?
Objection!
What are you up to now? I thought we had determined yesterday that the testimony was insubstantial. There's nothing you can... The Siren was taken to the hospital yesterday with injuries. What happened? She was assaulted, Your Honor. Assaulted? Someone wanted her dead. Thankfully, she was able to save herself. What? Oh yeah, you wouldn't know that part, would ya? I dare say that's some rather interesting information to maybe get a little bit more detail on. I've heard no such report. Prosecutor Gavin? Why would anyone be out to kill the Siren? Can you think of a reason? Well, think of how she is known in our country. A singer from overseas who doesn't speak English, yes? Yet someone tried to keep her mouth shut. Who could that have been? You don't think? I do. It was the same person who shot Mr. Latouche. The killer was afraid of her, afraid of what she might say. The defense believes that something was hidden in her testimony yesterday. Something that the killer doesn't want getting out. You can't say I don't have something going on here. So am I to understand that this is what you're saying? Namely, that there is a nugget of truth in the Siren's testimony. A nugget we have yet to uncover. Exactly. If the Siren was attacked, this has serious implications. Very well. There were some vague points in her testimony during yesterday's trial. Perhaps we did not inquire as deeply as we might have into some. The court will hear the Siren's testimony once more. Siren, I must apologize. We must ask you to stand again and speak. You need not apologize. I know that Machi is innocent, and I will do all that I can until the court realizes this. Let's review your testimony from yesterday. You told us you heard 2 gunshots and the shooter's voice through the window, and that the voice belonged to Darian Crescent, yes? That is correct. At which point I proved she could not be correct. She couldn't have heard any of those things. The small window at the scene was closed and was found to be quite soundproof. You have nothing to say to that, Mr. Justice? I don't know exactly what yet, but I do know there's something there. There is, it seems, much you do not know. Yeah, and you didn't know about the assault charges last time, so how about shut up? We're both not in the know, and yet it is my duty to hear him out. Perhaps the witness would be so kind as to testify once more to the court? Of course, Your Honor. I just gotta start picking at threads. I just gotta grab them and yoink. I gotta yoink them real hard. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. That's when I heard them, Mr. Latouche and the detective. I heard the faint sound of a gunshot and stopped. Then I heard another gunshot. There was the smell of gunpowder. I knew I must tell someone, but I was in a hurry, so I kept moving past the small window. Okay. There are a few things I feel like I could press on this one. Pretty much the same as yesterday's testimony. No, I think this is good. I think this is good. I am sorry. I am not used to speaking much in this language. Perhaps my descriptions are lacking in some way. Yet everything I have said here is the truth. And it is my distinct displeasure to say this. What you have said to have happened is impossible. Do I have to repeat myself? She was attacked because of this testimony. She was in the hospital. We have the records. It's not a bluff. It's not hearsay. It's a fact. We're working with this. I gotta figure out why someone wants her dead. What? Trucy? Apollo, you know, for a moment there, you were pretty cool. Maybe I do better when I don't try to think ahead. Worked out for Phoenix. Very well, Mr. Justice. Perhaps you can coolly cross-examine the witness. I can certainly make an attempt. Let's give it a go. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. Okay, that's when I heard them. Okay, can we maybe get a little info on what it is you heard? That could help. Darian Crescent. I did not know his name at the time. But yes, it was him. The one who took the stand yesterday. How many times do I need to remind you that's impossible? There's no way you could have heard him. Because the window at the scene was closed. Is that why? Of course. Apollo, if we keep asking the same questions as yesterday, we won't get anywhere. She's right. Maybe there's a different angle I can try. What were they talking about? Did you hear anything else? I like that one. Yeah, what were they talking about? That's what I want to hear. Siren, do you know by any chance, at all, remember what they were saying to each other? If so, please tell us. The smallest bit of context is so helpful here. I need it. I have given it much reflection, but I was afraid of this. She doesn't remember. I only heard one phrase clearly. A whole phrase? You remembered something that was said? Why didn't you say anything yesterday? Though my memory is clear, I was afraid to speak. You see, I do not understand what was said. Well, this could be it. The clue I've been waiting for. All right, let's go, let's go. Well, what did he say? It was the other man speaking, not Mr. Latouche. The shooter, then. Darian Crescent. Well, what did he say? It's over. Press the switch. Now. Switch? I mean, that sounds like a lovely video game console of which to play this very game. But what does that have to do with a case? And the shooter said that this to the victim, Mr. Latouche? I thought it quite strange myself afterward. It is a mystery. What could it possibly mean? Mr. Justice, care to shed some light on this? I mean, I have a switch in my inventory. I mean, sure. I'd be delighted. It's very, very vital. Maybe we could add that to the testimony. Maybe, Apollo? Look, I'm working with what I got, man. Come on. All right, hang on a second. Let's see here. Where are you? There we go. This is the only switch I can possibly think of. Let's go with this!
Objection!
Press the switch. There's only one key that can unlock the mystery of those words. Oh? Yet there was nothing at the scene that could be called a switch, save the lights. True, there wasn't a switch at the scene. I found it inside of a damn piano! But it just so happens I have a switch right here. It certainly does look like a switch, doesn't it? The problem is, this was found not at the scene of the crime, but on the stage. The stage? Where the concert was held, yes. This was found hidden there. On the stage. Are you claiming that the voice she heard was of someone commanding another to press the switch? It's a possibility.
Objection!
I'm listening. Oh, air forehead. I'd call that an impossibility. Why? It's hardly necessary for me to remind the court of the layout on the concert form. The stage is quite far from the dressing room. Not to mention that the Gaviners were in the middle of a concert on said stage. We aren't known for being a quiet band. You could shout all you wanted and not be heard. The detective's voice was loud, but certainly not the shout. So too have Air Forehead's cries of possibility fallen far short of being heard. Now, I already know how to fix this situation, sorry, but he wouldn't have needed to shout. Excuse me? You heard what I said! Or do you need me to shout it out for you? It would have been quite simple to be heard on the stage from that dressing room. Oh wait, you like evidence, don't you? How about this? Using this, it'd be easy to get a message to someone on stage from the dressing room. Bop 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 ba-dum boom boom bow! Prosecutor Galvin, perhaps you're familiar with this? Why that's... What? What is that? Is that some kind of newfangled phone they invented while I wasn't looking? Admittedly, yeah, kind of, but also, no. This is a type of transmitter, a communications device. Communications device? From what I've heard that night, everyone on stage was wearing one of these. Isn't that right, Prosecutor Gavin? Yeah, yes, actually. They're for talking between band members. We all had one on. Okay, so you admit that if you were wearing one of these, talking from the backstage to the stage would be simple.
Objection!
True, but wait. Those send out an electronic signal. To avoid interference with the audio systems, their range is quite limited. She said it was about 30 feet, right? Look at the cross-section diagram of the concert form. That Venn diagram works just fine. Exactly. The walk from the stage to the backstage seems far, but the direct distance is less than 30 feet. That can't be! So when she heard the shooter's voice, he could have been talking to someone on stage.
Objection!
You're claiming this is the switch in question? Why did it have to be on the stage at the time? It could be placed in a pocket and carried anywhere. Someone could have hid it on the stage after the fact. He's got a point. And how do we know where it was when she heard the voice? When the shooter said, press the switch? Well, I guess we don't. An unfortunate situation. I'm afraid that until we know where the switch was, there's little point in debating it. I was sure this was the way to go with this. What is this switch anyway? We don't even know that basic fact. Well, I mean, I do. Wait a second. I do know what this switch is. And if you follow that train of logic to its incredible conclusion, it ends up in proof that completely changes this case. What's up, Apollo? Apollo? We know about this switch, right? We know what it is. Yeah? Well, think of when it was used that day. Think of what happened. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further information to share concerning this switch, Your Honor! Whoa, hey, yes, what's up? I've been remiss in not telling the court this before. I know what this switch is. Well, it seems the defense is set upon linking this switch to the case. Damn straight! Let's see your evidence of this link. What evidence do you have to explain what this switch is? Right here, triggered by the remote trigger. Ha-cha-cha-cha! Let's go! Prosecutor Gavin, do you remember this? That's that what? Is it another one of those newfangled phones? I mean, it's probably just as good to put it next to your ear. This is an igniter. What phone looks like this? I've seen some jank-ass phones, dude. Don't even pretend. Igniter? You mean it's like a lighter? Yes, actually. You aren't saying this switch is a remote. I am. This is a remote trigger for an igniter. What? Look, I'll show you. Whoa, yeah. Mr. Justice, you will cease and desist from burning down this courtroom. Sorry, that was a bit more fire than I'd expected. If my whiskers had caught on fire, I swear to God, I would have beat you with an inch of your life with this gavel. God damn, okay. Prosecutor Gavin, let me repeat myself. This switch is a remote igniter trigger. Doesn't that suggest something to you? You're talking about what happened to me, aren't you? Ooh, do we get to see the footage again? I would love that. Exactly. That night at the concert, there was one unusual burst of flame. Show me to it. Yeah! Yeah! When your guitar caught fire in the middle of the performance. Woo! I love that. Wasn't that part of the stage show, though? Prosecutor Gavin was entirely unaware such a thing had planned. If he was, I sincerely doubt he would have flailed as panickedly as he did. And the guitar that burned was a valuable keepsake. That's right, he got it in Borginia from Siren. He said the sound was amazing before it burned, of course. Now it just kind of smokes. The better the guitar, the brighter it burns. Yeah, that's absolutely not how that works, but okay. Air forehead. Yes? Don't tell me you're trying to tie these two things together. Those being the shooter's voice heard by the siren, and the guitar suddenly catching on fire. I am. It's really simple when you think about it. Mr. Latouche and the shooter were at the crime scene. The shooter was wearing a headset. He ordered someone on stage to press the switch. The switch was pressed and the guitar caught fire. Well, that does seem to make sense. And I think I know who and the where and the when and the how. Let's go! Though, something about it is bugging me. Can't quite put my finger on it. Really? Seems pretty simple to me. What are you objecting? Air forehead, don't destroy what little respect I have for you. Oh, so you admit you have some. I'll admit, that's nice to hear. I was expecting something a little more sensible. And I guess I was wrong. What's this all about, Prosecutor Gavin? His simple story simply makes no sense. Think, that night, my guitar caught fire. Yes, it was very funny, I admit. This cause may have been this indeed. However, the guitar caught fire during the second set. That's right, of course. The guitar caught fire during the song. Please keep showing that clip. Indeed, yet the shooting happened during the third set. The two are utterly unrelated. Yes, that must have been what was bugging me. The whole premise for this is faulty. So I gotta prove this, and if I do, then suddenly that alibi is also Kaputski. See? His story makes no sense.
Objection!
Shut your face! Are you sure about that? Oh, what exactly do you mean, Mr. Justice? Maybe it's not the premise for my explanation of the switch that it's at fault. Maybe it's our premise for the entire case so far. What premise is this specifically? Please, use big words. I'm saying that maybe the killing didn't take place in the third act.
Objection!
What's this? But Detective Emma Sky heard shots and found the body. All of this happened in the third act.
Objection!
Gunshots rang out, and according to his testimony, Machi was in that dressing room at the time. Where are you going with this, Mr. Justice? Stay with me, Your Honor. He also told us this in his testimony, namely that the victim had already been shot. We all heard gunshots, but no one saw the shooting. This is insane, and yet, we're doing it anyway! Welcome to Ace Attorney! Just before the shooting took place, the shooter was heard on this headset, telling someone to press the switch. The next moment, Prosecutor Gavin's guitar burst into flame. We know that a remote trigger ignited was inside the guitar. The igniter, rather. For all these facts, we can draw only one conclusion. The crime did not take place during the third act, but during the ballad performance, the second act. What? Order in the court! But that goes against the evidence. What does, Your Honor? This crime was carried out according to the lyrics of that song, yes? I mean, quite frankly, weren't we all just kind of assuming? Hell, maybe that was literally just... Maybe the entire reason somebody did this in the first place was to make everybody think that everything went up about it in the, in the order of the song, just to, in question, give themselves their own alibi. Wouldn't that make a lot of sense? I mean, come on. You can't say that that's not something. It'd be very clever. The bullet is supposed to come after the fire. You're thinking about it the wrong way. Huh? Look, why would the shooter craft the events of the day to follow the lyrics anyway? It's an awful lot of trouble to go through, and what? For poetry's sense? For the aesthetic? With little merit for the person doing it. I'm sure whoever it was had some reason. Yes, they did. Excuse me. A reason that made it advantageous to follow the lyrics. You're saying the order was reversed on purpose? Reversed, Prosecutor Gavin? If the criminal followed the lyrics strictly, then yes. The shooting would have had to come after the guitar burst into flame. Yet, your forehead has raised another possibility. He's claiming that the bullet came not after, but just before the fire. Couldn't have put it better myself. Thank you kindly. We were only meant to think that the shooting came after the guitar burst into flame. That was the criminal's objective. The crime followed the lyrics to a point, but that was the ruse. Why else would the killer risk discovery by moving the body? That was the final touch to make us think he'd followed the lyrics the whole way. What you gotta say about that? Order in the court! That would explain this most unusual situation. It does. The killer changed the order of events to create himself an alibi. In other words, the killer was someone who had an alibi for the third set, but not the second.
Objection!
I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but sadly it has. Let me tell you why your little fairy tale makes no sense at all. Alright, I'm listening. Oh, it sounds good. I'll give you that. You've given us a reason why the killer bothered following the lyrics of my song. But I question your logic, for it's flawed from the very beginning. Flawed? Yes, a contradiction, Air Forehead. One I've pointed out several times, no less. At the time of the crime, the small window at the scene was closed. How could she have heard a voice through it? Oh. I know that you'd like to divert our attention from that critical fact, but you're basing your entire line of reasoning on a false premise. Right. Her testimony is my entire case. That voice she heard, the shooter's voice. What if she couldn't hear it, Apollo? Look, what do we have? A man saying, press the switch. And near the crime scene, we have a switch, which acts as a remote trigger for an igniter. And last but not least, Prosecutor Gavin's flaming guitar. It can't all be coincidence, but how do I make it work? I see a more direct line of questioning is required. When the crime scene was investigated immediately after the crime, that window was closed. Care to tell us how she heard the voice? Key point, to be sure. Mr. Justice, can you explain this to the court? I am going to have to. Okay, Justice, you've got one thing to prove and one thing only. She heard a voice. And she heard it during the second set. Think, how was she able to hear the voice? She has divine hearing. I kind of want to say that. You know what? But it's a serious moment. Okay, I think the answer is she was somewhere else, but I kind of want to hear what people think if I say this. My curiosity is too strong. I'll take a penalty if I have to. The window was closed, as you say, yet the siren could still hear the voice. Because she has the power of divine hearing. That's the only explanation. The witness is a siren, Mr. Justice, not a saint. I said hearing, Your Honor, not healing. Oh, well, that fell on deaf ears. I'm not sure I know what this divine hearing ability is. Then perhaps we should hear it straight from the all-powerful voice himself. That's right, I'm calling God himself into the witness stand. Care to explain how clairaudience has anything to do with this case? Can we just move on now? Only if you can enlighten this court. I'm sorry, I had to hear that. Okay. Okay, cool. I didn't even suffer a penalty. It's fine. It's fine. All right. She heard it during the second thing. How was she able to hear the voice? She was somewhere else. She had to be somewhere else. When we investigated the scene, the window was closed. The shooter had no reason to close it had it been open either. Meaning, it was impossible to hear the voice through that window. Ah, it's good to hear you making sense again. For a moment, I was afraid you might be a Borginian too. Yo, what the heck that's supposed to mean? As I was saying, she could not hear the voice through that window. So there can only be one explanation. She heard the voice from another location entirely. What's this? You do amuse me so. And here I thought you and good sense were back on speaking terms. You know better than anyone that that was never the case. Now I'm afraid you and good sense speak two entirely different languages. Well, to be fair, Latin is a dead language. Shall I interpret for you, Air Forehead? She clearly stated she heard the voice through that small window. And there's only one small window at the scene. Are you sure? Think about it. Isn't there another small window at the scene? There is? I mean, I guess you kind of have to stretch the definition of what a window is, but yeah. I know that look. He wants us to ask him. Very well. You claim she heard the voice from another location? Mr. Justice, show us where this location was. All right, she heard the voice from... I mean, it's the only thing that makes any sense. It's the only other opening in the entire room. This is where she heard that voice from. But that's no small window, that's the air vent. Oh, well, this is most unorthodox. What did she tell us? She said she's a Borginian unfamiliar with our language. It's not a stretch to imagine she called this air vent a small window.
Objection!
Now you've done it. You've gone beyond ridiculous and into ludicrous. So, she was up in the ventilation system listening to this man's voice? That's the only logical explanation. Yeah. Logic! I do not think this word means what you think it means, Air Forehead. Okay, what about it isn't logical? It hardly merits saying. Why would she be in the ventilation system? Hiding like a rat? No offense there, intended to her, of course. The explanation for that is simple, Prosecutor Gavin. Isn't it, Siren? You've been listening to our discussion here, yeah? Yes. I admit, it's had me quite confused since yesterday. Yes, the small window was closed. But why should that mean I could not hear through it? I feared our prosecutor might himself need an interpreter. The problem here is words. Siren, this small window through which you heard the voice, was it up high on the ceiling of the room, not low on a wall? Yes, it was up on the ceiling. Order in the court! I will have order! Bada boom. Witness, you will clarify this statement to the court. Are you, in fact, saying that you were up above the ceiling of the room? And that's where you heard the moment of the crime? Yes, in fact, I was. I'm sorry, I never imagined it would become such an important point. Yes, well, why the heck were you up there? I believe it's time for another testimony. I'm not sure I can't. May I remind you, this is a murder trial. We will hear your testimony. Tell us why you witnessed the crime from above the ceiling of that room. Please. Oh, looks like I'm on the right track. Okay. I'm listening. Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I had heard there was a small window there before. I admit I was kind of confused a little bit because everyone was saying like, oh, well, you know, Apollo and Emma and everyone, we can't fit through that thing. It had to be a small child. So I was like, then how did she? I think the implication is just the air vent. It's hard to get through the air vent. But if you got in through another method, then you could. Which would make sense because otherwise how exactly would you, do maintenance on the air vents at that point? That makes sense to me. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy on this matter. Then I know exactly what you're doing in there. Okay, yep, no, I know what I gotta do. I know what I gotta do. I know what I gotta do. We got this. But bound to secrecy. In my line of work, one has many obligations to uphold. But you say you were in the middle of your performance. So this did happen during the second set. I did not witness the crime, you must understand. I only know what I heard. Yes, but you must tell us what you were doing in detail. That's what the cross-examination is for, ya, air forehead. Our mission in this court is to discern the truth. No obligation, no binding pact may hinder that mission. Very well. Mr. Justice, you may begin the cross-examination. What are you gonna do, Apollo? I'm gonna find out the truth. It's what I do, brother! She was up above that calling for a reason. Or calling ceiling. I just had to get it out of her. Alright, let's go! Yes, I was above the ceiling when I heard the voice. I heard that there was a small window there before. It was in the middle of my performance. I had no time to report what I had heard. As to why I was there, I cannot say. I am bound to secrecy. Okay, I think I know what you are bound to secrecy on this one. Hang on. It should be this! Yeah? The witness's statement is... Okay, I screwed up. I'm sorry, but I can see nothing faulty. Unfortunately, I have to penalize you. Then... As to... You can't say... because of the magic.
Objection!
Okay, thank God. I was so confident. Oh, God. If that wasn't the case, I was entirely lost. Oh, my God. Okay. Truth be told, the reason for your presence above that ceiling is quite clear. Especially when you consider what happened during your performance. What happened? Yes, it's all right here on this video. Let's watch the guitar burst into flames again. I don't think we're gonna get a chance to see it again. We do get to see it again! Yeah! Yeah! All right. That's how you get people hyped, people. Oh, Jesus, God, there's a fire. Someone help me. As we can see, she was clearly not on stage for her entire performance. Though it saddens me to be so realistic. She is incapable of actually vanishing, let alone teleportation. So the only explanation is that she was hidden from view. And during that time, she moved to the back of the form. Apollo! What? What, Trucy? It's not nice to reveal a magician's secrets. And it's against the rules. Trucy, with all due respect, I'm gonna have to ask you to shut up. We have far more important things to go on right now, alright? But I'm a lawyer. I'm not supposed to be nice. Damn, man, Apollo has said the most truthful statements about being a lawyer in this entire franchise out of every character. It's kind of refreshing. This is all very fascinating. But how is it possible? There's only 20 seconds between when she disappeared and reappears. She couldn't have moved that fast. She might have. Oh, you do be seeming to sweat a bit, my guy. Is something wrong, Prosecutor Gavin? This was his concert, his show. He knows how the illusion was performed. Aha! He's just realizing his own oversight. Let's look at the cross-section diagram again, yeah? Here we can trace a route through the ceiling. It goes from the stage, through the backstage, to the rear of the form. Ah! Recall her testimony from yesterday. I was on my way from the stage to the backstage exit. There was something like a little window there. That's how I saw it. Yeah, there you go. She went from the stage to the backstage exit. A perfect description of the route above the ceiling! She knew of this because of her part in the illusion, but she wasn't the only one who knew. What? Just now in the lobby, Machi told me something. I know. I know if I opening vents, I can leave stage and backstage. He said that? Oh, were you not informed, Prosecutor Gavin? I knew about the Vanishing Act, of course. Yet, I had no idea of the route that would be used. Why didn't that magician tell me? Because he doesn't tell anybody anything. It's apparently some weird magician law.
Magic!
Magicians only reveal details of their acts on a need-to-know basis. They're the bread and butter of a magician's life, you know. Which is why he bound her to secrecy. And you didn't need to know, so you didn't get to know. Well, I am impressed, Mr. Attorney. Machi was right about you. So, what does this mean? Are you saying you used this route above the ceiling? I did. Well, that's that. But I'm still a little confused. Why's that, Your Honor? As I said before. Shee-ha! Kazing! There was very little time between when she disappeared and when she reappeared. Oh. We almost got to see it again. 20 seconds, tops! How could she do it so fast? Especially if she stopped to hear the shooter's voice. I don't know! Yeah, that's a good question. Can the witness explain this to the court? I cannot. Very well, Mr. Justice. Yes? It's all up to you. Do your thing. What thing, Your Honor? You need to explain how she was able to teleport like she did. Or I'm throwing your case out with the bathwater. Ow. Where do I get picked on? It's her who isn't going along with the program here. As I have stated before, I am not at liberty to speak of the illusion that night in detail. And yet we're gonna have to do it anyway. Then you'll just have to tell us what you can, and then I'll pick at it. I'll pick at it like a picky eater. We'll hear your testimony on this. Mr. Justice, it'll be your job to wring the truth out of her. Yes, if you would, please. Right. I feel like a student before finals. Good luck, Apollo! I kind of appreciate the way she phrased that. It's like, yes, please, get the information out of me. I can't say it of my own accord, but if you force me, then boom. Okay. I followed the route exactly as I was instructed. There is an emergency exit in the backstage where a stagehand waited. From there, one can enter the form on the opposite side from the stage. The plan was for me to move there in 2 minutes. I was on my way when I heard the voice. Okay. 2 minutes, you say? The mystery deepens! I suppose it was too much to hope that the judge would come up with something himself. As does my curiosity! Take it away, Mr. Justice. Right, Your Honor. All we have to do is find the contradiction between what she's saying and what we can see plainly in the video. I figured it out already. I'm a magician. Well, then tell me. No, not doing that. I can't reveal another magician's secrets. Come on. You're supposed to be on my side here. We're friends. Okay, fine. Let's see here. Well, the only bit of information here that makes much sense for me to poke at. All right, let's talk about this whole 2 minute thing. 2 minutes. Yes, it can be done in 1 minute if you are running. Running? In that cramped, dark tunnel above the ceiling? Mr. Attorney, have you forgotten? Dark or lit, it makes no difference to me. Oh, that's right, you use echolocation like a bat. Oh, that's true, but... So, you're saying that on the night of the concert, you made the trip in 2 minutes? Yes, though I nearly didn't make it in time. You see, I stopped halfway. She disappeared for on the video for 20 seconds, but she says she made a trip in 2 minutes. How? If you want my professional opinion, I'll bet the answer's right there in that video. Well, Mr. Justice, perhaps you have some evidence for us? Something that could explain the discrepancy between the video and her testimony? Evidence explaining the discrepancy? I mean, I need to. There's one piece of evidence that explains the discrepancy between video and testimony. What on Earth. Can I watch the video? Hang on. Next section, please. Okay. As much as I like that... Okay. I just need to look this over. And believe it or not, just for the sake of being able to see this again, as fun as it is. Still funny, though. Okay. The only thing I could possibly imagine... I know this is gonna sound weird, but I need to see her chest. Yep. Okay. Yep. That's what I wanted to see. That's what I had to hear. Okay, yeah. Sweet. Boom. Ha, Siren. Do you happen to remember this brooch? Ah, the brooch. We saw that yesterday, did we not? It was found at the scene, Your Honor. And you're bringing this up now... Why? I thought we had already determined what that was dropped. So did I. But we hadn't. Take another look at that video. We sure do be reviewing video footage a lot today. Here, you can see she's wearing the brooch. So she is. Let's look a little bit later then. Hmm? There we are. Boom. What? The brooch. It's gone. What? The brooch disappeared in the short span of 20 seconds. And it takes a full minute to run from the stage to the backstage. Which means there can be only one explanation. The Siren we see before the vanishing act and the Siren we see after are two different people. What? The brooch was found on the floor at the crime scene. And not just on the floor, but on the floor directly beneath the air vent. So, in retrospect, that makes a lot of sense. Huh. Siren, tell me. Did you drop the brooch on your way from the stage to the backstage? At the very moment you witnessed the crime? Yes, I think I did. Oh my god, that's really actually rather orthodox. Order in the Prosecutor Gavin! From your expression, I gather you had no idea this was the case, Air Judge. I, of course, knew about it. Well, don't get me wrong, I wasn't hiding it. It just never occurred to me that the switch and the shooting took place at the same time. So, I was right. There was a switch. There was. Just before the stage's tower rose, she was replaced. While we're on the subject, just who was this replacement? Why, the man behind the illusion, Fallon Grammarier?
Magic!
It was Grammy? That's quite the illusion, but I still don't get one thing. Yes? The switch happened before the tower rose, correct? So, you weren't on the stage. That's right. But this, fake Siren is still singing. And she's pretty good. That's true. Oh, come on, Apollo. That's an easy one. They were just playing a recording. The Gaviners aren't some kind of air guitar band, Fraulein. You mean I'm wrong? When we play a show live, we play live. No recordings. Perhaps you can explain, Siren? Very well. Give me that explanation. Yes, do tell. And add it to your testimony. I had to keep singing even while I moved. That sounds difficult, if I'm being honest with you. All right, let's listen. Let's listen in. You were singing? Yes. Mr. Gavin expressed a dislike for recordings, so I used this. Wait, so you were singing the whole time? Even when you were crawling above the ceiling toward the backstage? Why should it matter where I sing, when everywhere I go is the same darkness? But if you were singing while you were walking, That's right, wouldn't the shooter and victim have heard? She was singing right over their heads, after all. That is right. Are you sure? You'd have to be pretty hard of hearing to miss someone singing in the ceiling. Sounds like a novel, The Singer in the Ceiling. Once again, we come back to the state of the scene of the crime. What state? Are you talking about Kentucky? Because I don't want to go there. Ah, I know what he means. That old speaker, Apollo. The speaker? That speaker was blaring at the time of the murder. That's for monitoring the stage from this room. Monitoring? It pipes in a real-time feed from the stage microphones. Useful for knowing when your set is coming up. Satisfied? That dressing room was fitted with a large speaker playing a direct feed from the stage. At my request, actually. So, her singing in the ceiling sounded just like her singing over the speaker. Ingenious! Her voice was hidden by her voice! Siren? I have just remembered something. Do tell. When I heard the noise, the gunshots, yes? It startled me, so I stopped singing. What? I forgot the words I was supposed to sing. The song stopped? Thankfully, it was the very beginning of the second verse, so not many would notice. Forehead! That mixing board I lent you, where is it? It's in my pants where I keep everything. What? What? That machine, Apollo. The one that breaks music into tracks. Is the implication seriously that Apollo has been literally, physically carrying around the soundboard ever since we talked about it? He just Gavin just like, yeah, here you go. Here you go, bro. Have fun. Like, what? Oh, this. I completely forgotten about it. I was wondering why my pants were so heavy. Let's take a listen. Oh, was it there right there? Yo! Oh, no one's ever gonna believe me. But I thought that sounded weird the very first time I saw it. I was like, what's with that sour note? Like, well, even if nobody believes me when I say that I really honestly did hear that at first, I did say that I thought that when it was an instrumental, it sounded better. That was why I said that. Yo, I didn't think that was actually relevant to the case, though. That's awesome. The song does stop there. It does? I must have missed it. Look at the lyric sheet. At the top of the second verse. See where it says, pleasure, pleasure? Now listen again. There's a gap. Yeah, there was a gap. That's why it sounded so weird. There was supposed to be lyrics there. This is evidence indeed. I believe we are guilty of making a terrible mistake. The crime didn't happen during the third set. It happened during the second, during her ballad. If that is true, then no one on stage during the second set could have been the shooter. Which means that Darian Crescent could have done it. He wasn't on stage for the second set. Well, Prosecutor Gavin, fascinating. I don't believe I've ever seen a trial turned around quite so thoroughly. Yet, one problem remains. What's that, Prosecutor Gavin? Air Forehead's theory does have a certain kind of logic to it, in that it is a thing that has actually happened, and yes, okay, fine. Yet it is entirely based upon her testimony. Yeah? There a problem with that? Well, it's quite simple, though it pains me to say it. What if she is lying to protect the defendant?
Objection!
What if you're stupid and you should shut up, but you have no proof? All I'm saying is that the truth is yet unclear. Until we hear directly from the man himself. The the man. You don't mean. Yes. Though he is a friend and band member, Darian Crescent must take the stand. I see no other way. Someone with a new perspective on the case? As a suspect, to be frank. Finally! The rat's coming out of his hole! And I'm ready to catch him! Darian Crescent, get ready for justice! This is as good a time as any to pause for a brief recess. The prosecution will summon the witness. Have him here and ready by the time we begin. I'm the last man who needs to be reminded of what his duties are. Very well. Court is adjourned for a 15-minute recess. Hopscotch, here he comes! Let's do this.